Before we get started with today's interview, just a quick reminder, click the thumbs up, make sure you subscribe and ding the bell so that you don't miss any of the great interviews that we have coming up. Now, on to today's interview. Welcome back, everybody. I am really excited to present my special guest today, Dr. Kevin Olson. Welcome, Kevin. Thank you so much for being here today.
Hi, everybody.
I'd like to start off by talking about Imaginations Book 1. There's some great selections out of this book on the next list. So I'd like to start off by talking about bumper cars. This is a really fun piece. It's in 3/4 time. It has some really cool dissonant sounds when the cars clearly are bumping together. Talk to us about how you were inspired to write this piece and how you put it together.
Yeah, I think that any composer that is writing for pedagogical purposes, they recognize, and especially writing at that elementary level, the importance of lyrics and titles become, when you're really restricted musically, you have to kind of think about that, thinking about things that might engage students from a kind of an imagery standpoint, but then also the sound effects. So I feel strongly that students should also be kind of expanding and exploring new sounds in their in their own aural experience. They're going to get plenty of 1s and 5/7 chords in their method book. So are there places maybe in their solo rep where they can explore the sounds of a minor second or an accent, staccato, and especially if it means to tell a story, I think immediately a student isn't thinking that maybe dissonance is ugly or bad, but it's an effect, right? It's a way to get an emotion or a story across to an audience. So I think early on, exploring dissonances and whether that means two little bumper cars crashing into each other or maybe something that's kind of a spooky evening or something like that. I think they're a little more open-minded as they may kind of move into more contemporary repertoire as they get older.
What a great way to expose students to new sounds and to get them more comfortable with a sound that maybe they haven't been exposed to in their repertoire books. What are some things that students should think about and focus on as they're playing bumper cars?
Yeah, I mean, I think that teachers that are singing with their students, that are looking at the lyrics, I think all of that is really an important part. I know as a teacher, sometimes I'm so worried about other things like rhythm and technique and things like that. I sometimes forget, and I have to remind myself that there's a higher purpose here, which is really we're musical storytellers. Composers are, but then the interpreters are as well. And so I think having those opportunities for students to talk about what they want the piece to sound like, how can they really make the car crashes sound realistic, all of that can be, I think, a really great way for students to think about themselves as interpreters, not as robots following directions, but as true storytellers, even at a young age.
I'm guilty as charged as a teacher of getting stuck and thinking about the rhythms and the notes, but I love that reminder to think artistically and to really allow students that opportunity to find their own creative expression while they're playing the piece and to connect with it that way. What a great suggestion. Yeah. Is there anything else you'd like us to know about bumper cars?
Well, yeah, I mean, I just think that, when we're writing at this early level, I think that what we're really thinking about as composers is exposing the students to the fluency of note reading. We really want students to be thinking about being accurate with their notes and rhythms. And, when you have a living composer, maybe that's another opportunity as a teacher to allow a student to really think that there was a real live person out there on the other side of the country that wrote this piece with specific instructions for you and really thought hard about, where the dynamics are going to be. If there's a fingering change, there was probably discussion happening between this composer and an editor. And if that was as important enough to the composer to put that on the page, that should be important to the student as well. So there's kind of when you have living art and living composers, that might help a student to actually put importance on those instructions as opposed to maybe someone who has been dead for 200 years, right? So that might be an opportunity for a student to really try to, as my old band teacher would say, read the ink. Everything that's there is there for a purpose, and a real composer put that there for you. So that would be the challenge I would give.
What a great challenge to issue to students. Thank you so much for taking time to talk to us today, Kevin. Kevin Olson's book is Imaginations Book 1. You can find it at all of the awesome music retailers near you. Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you, Sam. Thanks, everybody.